All right, welcome to lesson number 3, and we're looking at identifying place value. So all I want you to be able to do today, I want you to be able to tell me what column or what place value each number is. So I can identify the different place values. So that is our goal for today. So when we're just looking at the naming, we want to know our columns here. So what are the names of each place value? So let's see how this works for myself. I'm going to draw a ridiculously large number here. So let's go with 3, 2, 5, 6, 4, 2. We'll go one more. 1 decimal. 2, 5, 6, 8. So there we go. So I have a very, very large number here. And let's start off at the decimal point. The decimal point is your starting point when you are referencing particular names. So let's move in the positive direction, or to the left first. Let's deal with the numbers left of the decimal sign. So I'm going to head in this direction. So the first number I'm going to be interested in is that 1. So does anyone remember what the first number on that side of the decimal is called, or what place value that is? It's a trick question. I can't see you and you can't answer me anyway. So the first column is our ones column. All right, so it's our ones column. So there we go. The next one, when we move over to the 2, it's in what we call our tens column. Oops. After the tens column, we have our hundreds. Right now, everyone is starting to say, oh yeah, I remember this. This is easy, which is what I like to hear. Hundreds. Moving to the next one, we have thousands. Moving to the thousands. Next would be our 10,000s. 10,000s. We spin it around. 10,000s. Then we would go to our 100,000s. 100,000s. Thousands. And there. And after 100,000s, we have our millions. Millions and millions of peaches. Probably before your time, but still a cool song. You should look it up. Okay, millions, and then the pattern continues. So I can put a 4 in front of there. And the next one then would be 10 millions. Then the next one, if we wanted to add one more in, you'd have 100 millions, then you'd have billions, then you'd have 10 billions and 100 billions, and then a trillion, and so on and so forth. So there's your pattern going left of the decimal. Going to the right, we don't have a ones column. It actually skips to the tenths column. Tenths. Okay. And we put the THS on the end of all our words when we go in this direction. Now, why is it called the tenths column? Why is there no ones column? Just a quick aside. All right. If I was to do 2 divided by 10, so if I gave you that fraction and I want you to convert it to a decimal, we're going to actually do this lesson a little bit later on, so I'll help us out here. We get 0.2. So in order to get one decimal place, all right, so I'm just going to put it above there. The only way to get a decimal 0.2, so right here, the only way to get 0.2 is to divide a number by 10. So we call it the tenths column. So that's why there's no ones column. So it goes tenths, and then the pattern starts again. So it just gets harder to spell. 100. English isn't my strength, so you got to bear with me here. Hundredths, and after that is the thousandths. There we go. Oops, spun her too far. And after thousandths would be 10,000ths, and it repeats itself. You just got to put THS on that side of it. So up here I'll put This is the THS side of the decimal, because every word has a THS at the end of it. Thusa, 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 thusa. There we go. So there is a review of naming our particular placeholder or column, or place value columns. So today you're going to have questions that just say identify what column a particular number is in. And then I want to go through a couple of quick, an example, just reviewing the purpose and the role of place value. So the example, we're going to use the numbers 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So those are the numbers we're using for all questions coming up here. So I can only use each number once, so that's fairly important in this exercise. So question A, what is the biggest 3-digit number you can make with those digits? So what's the biggest 3-digit number? 1, 2, 3. So when you're going through this process, in order to have the largest possible number, it means that the biggest column, and in this case our hundredths column, has to be the biggest possible number in order to make this as big as we can. So that means our 9 would have to go in there. If we're still looking for the biggest possible number, then we have to use all the biggest or largest numbers possible. So that means I would have to put a 7 here. I would have to put a 5 here. Because the 1 and 3 in each case would make the number smaller. So for example, if I use 913, 913 is smaller than 975. So you have to make sure with place value, if you want a large number, you have to use the biggest numbers in the biggest place value. What about a 4-digit number? 2, 3, 4. So what's the largest 4-digit number? Well, again, you have to start with the biggest number available, and then from that point on, use the next largest, the next available largest, and so on and so forth. So that would be the largest 4-digit number, because again, you want the largest number in the largest place value. So the biggest number has to go in the thousands column to get the biggest number. And finally, looking at the other way, what's the smallest 3-digit number? So we're back to a 3-digit number. What's the smallest possible number? Well, now you do reverse thinking. We have to use the smallest possible number we can in the hundreds column. Then we have to use the next smallest available number in the tens column, and the next, oops, I don't think 2 is up there though. 1, 3, and then the next smallest available. So it's kind of a reverse, but it is important that we put the smallest possible number available in the largest place value in order to make it a small number. Same, I'm still using those same numbers. So what's the largest 4-digit number you can make? So it's the same process, because we want, actually that should read smallest because we already did the largest. That's a typo. Oops. Again, it's nice you don't have to copy this down. It'll be all printed there for you. So what is the smallest 4-digit number? Again, you have to use the smallest number available in the biggest column to get that small value. And then you continue to use the smallest values available. All right. Now, E, what is the largest 4-digit number you can make with the 7 in the tens column? So it's a 4-digit number, 2, 3, 4. We have ones, we have tens, we have hundreds, we have thousands. Okay. It tells me that the 7 is in the tens column. So that means that my number that I'm going to create, I've already used the 7 and it's right there. So what's the largest number possible? Well, we got to use the biggest number available. So I still have the 9. All right. And for those that can't remember, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, here are the numbers. So the 7, I can't use it, it's gone. I've now used the 9. So I have to use the next largest available number, and that would be a 5. And now it's gone, so now I move to the 3. So there we go. That's the largest four-digit number you can come up with a 7 in the tens column. Last example here, finishing things off. What's the smallest four-digit number you can make with the 9 in the hundreds column? So again, I'll just write it out quick so you can see ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. Okay. It tells me I have the 9 in the hundreds column. So the rule of thumb, when you want to make the smallest number available has to go in the biggest column. So I got to put the 1 in the thousands column. The 9 is already placed for me in the hundreds. I now use the next smallest in the tens and the next smallest in the ones. And that's the smallest possible number I can make with that 9 being forced into that second or the third slot there. All right, so we're going to just play with naming and identifying place value, and we'll go from there. If you have any questions, that's when you need to ask me, is when you come see me.